Hello and welcome to the Sal Licata Show. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Can't even have my own studio here. 2 seconds before you hit the open, we're talking for 15 minutes. Nothing goes on. I see my door opening. My wife has my dog in here. No, I'm not trying to get frame mogged by Maddox again. Good God. I told you there was nothing to worry about with the Yankees. Cam Schlittler was a beast last night. So many people, and we'll get into the U.S. soccer as well, like minimally get into the U.S. soccer. What an embarrassing performance by them. But so many people last night, and I get it. World news, like national story is the U.S. soccer. I was locked into the Yanks last night. I couldn't be more excited to watch a big baseball game, which also made me mad at the Mets for that, but more on the Mets in a little bit. You know, the Yankees had a huge game, and can you nitpick and say, well, yeah, they didn't have any hits. The only hits that they get were home runs. Yeah, that's how they're built. Surprise, that's how the Yankees are built. That's what makes them so good. When they do make contact, a lot of times the ball goes over the wall. Yankees have 50 wins, one of the few teams in the big leagues to have 50 wins. Oh my God, they're so terrible. Fire everyone. Cashman, I've told you for years, he's terrible. Boo needs to go. They're so inconsistent and so awful. I understand the argument. I think that there were times to have those arguments. The time is not now. They've proved it many times over. We all wanted them fired after 2023, 2021. You know, they don't make the postseason in 2023. Then they go get to the World Series in 2024. So I just think that conversation is stale, and it's the same stuff every year, and it's the same people saying the same things. It's nauseating. Oh, here we go. Like the Yankees. How many times you got to get sucked in with the Yankees to realize you're the fool if you rip them over the top? I'm not saying they're above reproach. Of course, everybody can be critiqued, and you could get on certain guys for certain things. But without Aaron Judge, without Max Fried, I mean, I won't even mention Stanton because he's always hurt. I think that's a legitimate gripe. They should have moved on from John Carlos Stanton years ago, as far as I'm concerned. But without Aaron Judge, what do you want him to do? Oh, okay, well, they're still at the 50-win mark. Oh, okay, well, Cam Schlittler just went out there and stuck it to the Tampa Bay Rays, which is exactly what you wanted to see. The reason why I love Cam, by the way, one of the early episodes of the season, we talked about it, Cam versus McClain. And I think I talked about it on the show and then posted about it on X or whatever, saying that Cam Schlittler is the must-see show in town. And at the time, McClain didn't drop off a little bit. It was coming off the WBC. People were still hype about his beginning and all that stuff. Now there's no comparison. And the reason to me that I love Cam Schlittler even more than Noel McClain, and it's not just his dominance on the mound, which obviously is a huge thing. It's his attitude. He's got it. He's that Matt Harvey type bulldog. He is that alpha male, that no-nonsense, just absolute beast. You love his competitiveness. After the game, he was fiery, talking about, people said he took a step back or fell off a little bit after he got beat up pretty good by the Tigers, which I was more surprised. After the start in Boston, I was like, all right, he's going to bounce back. This dude's just that dude. And then he got lit up against the Tigers. Then I was thinking, all right, well, I'm doubling down on him. No doubt about it going into yesterday's game. Yankees were even money in that game, which was absurd. With Cam Schlittler on the mound, like, I know the Rays are good. I know the Yanks have struggled a little bit. But Cam on the mound against the Rays, give me the Yanks all day long. And he did not disappoint, sticking it to him. That's a big boy start. You talk about being a stopper, that's an ace. That's a stopper. That's exactly what the Yankees needed. And that's what he did. He went out there and performed at that level. And then, like we said, talked the trash afterwards saying, this is just a reminder for the people who said I fell off. Like, give me a break. Using some foul language in there as well. I'm paraphrasing, but good for him. I like that he plays with that edge, that he goes out there and looks to prove people wrong. So the Yankees have themselves a true ace. He is a true dog in every sense of the word, that alpha male, absolute beast. And it's nice to have him set the tone in this series. Now, they still got work to do here. And would you be concerned about the fact that they don't have a lot of hits and still you order a ton of strikeouts? I mean, I guess you could be alarmed about that, but that's not a new issue. This has been the same thing with the Yankees for years, and yet they always overcome it. Let's see tonight. Okay, well, maybe Grisham homers or Ben Rice is going to stay hot. Caballero was the star last night with the 2 homers, monstrous home runs, and usually you don't get that type of production from him having a career year with the Yanks. Surprise, surprise. The reason why Boone was non-committal, so everybody's going to get on Boone for the shortstop stuff, right? Nobody wants to see Volpe anymore. me included, like, I gave up on Volpe a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, whatever it was with Volpe. So long wanted to move on from Volpe. What you're not understanding is when Boone says last night after the game, because, like, there should be no doubt, right? After last night, okay, this is definitively it. Caballero's got to be our starting shortstop. Like, he just smacked you in the face with 2 homers that won the game against the Rays for us. What more do you need to see? Well, Boone's response in the postgame was non-committal to Caballero as the everyday shortstop, but the reason why is not because he still believes in Anthony Volpe. It's because what if something else happens where somebody else goes down and they need to reconfigure the lineup, like Boone admitted to doing? A lot of times that Caballero hasn't started at short, it's because somebody else got scratched and then he has to play there, whether it's right field, left field, third base, whatever it may be. They move him around because of his versatility. And then in that case, their backup shortstop is Volpe. Now, they also value Volpe a little bit more than we do. They're still holding on to hope that Volpe can figure it out. We all know that he's toast and he's not going to be any good. Period. End of story. They screwed him up. He'll go somewhere else. Maybe he'll be a fringe big league contributor at some point. But it's over here. He'll never be the starting shortstop for the New York Yankees in a consistent role. Right now, it's just the best backup option, assuming you have to move Caballero to a different spot to fill a void that you shouldn't need to be filled. The Yankees have to get the reinforcements in here so then you can plug those places in, add some more depth, and then lock Caballero in as your starting shortstop. But because he's so versatile, Boone can't commit to him as the everyday shortstop. He's going to be moved around if necessary. Period. End of story. It's not, because of Volpe. It's that they might need him in other spots. And they showed you in the biggest game of the year, like, they're not messing around. They're going to have Caballero. How many? They do the same thing. They did it with Peraza those years, shoving him down our throat until they didn't in the postseason in the biggest games. Then they finally move on. We're like, yeah, well, what were you waiting for? That's what the Yankees do. They kind of still use the regular season to a certain extent as an evaluation period and just trying to survive throughout the course of the long season. And survive for them is, we only won 92 games this year as opposed to the 110. By the way, look around Big League Baseball and see the teams that have separated themselves. There's only one. The Dodgers have 60 wins, and then it's all the other good teams are right around 50 with the Yankees. All right, maybe, Rays 53 or whatever, but for the most part, there's the Dodgers, and then there's that second tier of everybody else, and then it just gets worse and worse. And even the bad teams, like the Mets with 38 wins, are right there with the other bad teams with like 43 wins-ish or whatever it may be. Obviously, the Mets are really bad. I'm just saying that the league, it's not that big of a disparity other than the Dodgers who separated themselves. Right, the Yanks are right there with literally everybody else. And to me, that's not good enough for the Yankees. For now, it's fine. But ultimately, you want to get to the point where you're on the level with the Dodgers. At the very least, they should be above the Dodgers, but on the level with the Dodgers. And to do that, they're going to have to make significant moves. But the complaints are foolish because it's like, the Yankees this and that. Like, the roster is built poorly and Boone's not a good enough manager. They have all the pieces there and they need to go get reinforcements. They have the resources to do it. Will they add the right guys? Will they be willing to part with the right guys to get the right guys in? How big will they go? Let's just say this. If they don't get Tarek Skubal, and by the way, like we said, they have work to do in this series now. Just because they won one game against the Rays does not mean that the series, is all of a sudden, okay, well, all's good, go into the All-Star break, easy peasy, everybody happy. No, they've got work to do. They've got to at least win one of these next 3 games. Will Warren, Garrett Cole, TBD. So still work to be done here with the Yankees as far as this series goes. I understand that. But I'm also saying that was a huge win yesterday, setting the tone for this series, and I fully expect them to get at least one more of these. If they get 2 out of these final 3, now you're really moving forward with the momentum and then going into the deadline. Now, at the deadline, they have a lot of work to do. Catcher, I want another infielder. You need to add a bat. I would assume that would be in the infield. Could they potentially go get a starter? They definitely need bullpen help. If you look at the best pieces available, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be a ton out there. And that's why I brought up the Mets-Yankees perfect trade situation. Nobody wants to hear it for some reason. Like, Met fans are hurt that you would trade players to the Yankees. Yankee fans don't want the Mets players, even though they would make their team significantly better. It's just a clear, perfect fit, smacking you right in the face. Shortstop, catcher, bullpen, all 3 needs for the Yankees. Anyway, that whoever becomes available, you got to identify, okay, well, we need this, and they have multiple needs. Not to get them to the postseason, to get them on the level of the Dodgers trying to win a World Series. Assuming Judge comes back, assuming Fried comes back, okay, let's look at this roster, see what it could be and will be. Now, what are the areas of need? I still think it would be smart to inquire about Tarek Skubal. What if Skubal is on the move? First of all, if he stays on Detroit, then he could be a problem in the postseason. I mean, Detroit showed you what they could be when they beat up on the Yankees last week at Yankee Stadium. So they could be a dangerous team with Skubal on the mound. If they do decide to move him, you should be involved in that. Not just to play keep away, to make your team significantly better and have a legitimate chance at the Dodgers, but also, like, if you add him, that means he's off the Tigers, check. That means he doesn't go to the Dodgers, check. Doesn't go to the Phillies, check. Like, anywhere he goes, doesn't go to the Rays. Imagine the Rays get Tarek Skubal. Now how would you feel? So, and I'm not doing it again just to play keep away. That would make no sense. I'm doing it to make the team significantly better. But if Skubal goes to one of those other teams, now they get better, and then you have even more room to climb as far as being a legitimate team. So, Yankees have some work to do, but I thought just a perfect tone-setting performance last night from their ace in Cam Schlittler. And the thought of him being on the mound in the postseason like we saw a year ago, that has to get you excited. Thinking big dreams, big things with the Yankees being legitimate contenders to go win a World Series. You have the ace. Fried coming back slots in as a number 2. Cole, if you add a starter like Skubal, I mean, forget it. That really puts you over the top with the rotation. So it's a lot of the other stuff that you'd be looking at. Getting Judge back in that lineup will change the entire look of the top half of the lineup. Adding a catcher and an infield bat, that will take you to another level as well. So all the panic and freaking out and going nuts because the Yankees have had a rough couple of weeks, to me, is really foolish and it's absurd. It happens every single year. Oh, yeah, I don't know. They're real warning signs, real trouble. Code red with the Yankees. Yeah, code red. Okay. As if they won't turn it around. All right, I was wrong. They didn't turn it around last week against the Tigers or the Twins, but I fully expect that to be the case, whether it's this series against the Rays, next series against the Nationals, or coming out of the All-Star break. I can't imagine a world in which the Yankees fall off the cliff and go the wrong way to the point where they have to fire the manager or that's going to be the primary talk again. It's like people just like to be upset just to be upset. Most fans would kill to have their team in the position of the Yankees. 3 games back in the division, 50-win team, while still being ravaged by injury. That's a great thing. But the overall argument, now, it won last night, and I still think that more often than not, it'll probably win out. It didn't work last year. My biggest issue has always been, well, I don't like the way that they're built, meaning that they're all or nothing with the home runs and the strikeouts, and they just don't play a clean brand of baseball. But even against my own argument, it still is proven to win 90-plus games every year. So at some point, you just got to say, you know what? Even though I don't disagree with it, or even though I don't agree with it, they still continue to prove me wrong. I'd like a little more balance, and that's what I'd be looking for, as opposed to Jazz at second base. Give me somebody who's just more bat on the ball, better defense, more consistent. Same thing. That's why I keep talking about Torrens with the Mets. Had a big hit last night in the Mets win. That type of guy that the Yankees had in their organization and let him go. One of the better, more well-rounded catchers in the big leagues right now. Yeah, he's not going to hit 20 home runs, but he's going to be a solid winner back there. They need somebody like that. That he would fit perfectly on the 90s Yankees. That's what you want. A Luis Torrens type. If I'm the Yankees, now I don't know what the Mets would want from them, but that would be a move I'd be looking to make a catcher. I don't need one of these guys that hits 20 home runs, the guys from the Rockies or the Twins. I want a more sound guy and build the team differently so where you don't have all those strikeouts and you go hitless for 4 innings. And then, yeah, okay, one swing of the bat could change everything. That's great, but I'd like to have a little more balance. Did you see last night, too, the Dominguez thing? Like, this is a bigger problem with Major League Baseball. And obviously, we'll continue to talk about the Yankees and the series as the series goes on here, but great start with Cam Schlittler last night. Yanks getting the job done, Caballero, power, all that stuff. During the game, Dominguez challenges a pitch, and the ump doesn't see it. So now we're at a point that we need a challenge for the challenges. Like, think of how absurd this is, where you need to now replay whether a batter challenged or not. Now, I don't know what the ump is thinking, because on the broadcast they were saying, well, he had his head down, he didn't look at him. But his head was up. He was looking there. Maybe he just assumed like he went to adjust his helmet as that happened. So that's the thing that I thought. Maybe he just figured, and they said, oh, no, you didn't challenge. But no, he did challenge. So now we're in a spot, like, everybody's talking. This is why I hate replay and hate all this stuff. Because it's a never-ending, vicious, I don't know about cycle. It's not really a cycle. But it just never stops. It just keeps on going. Okay, so then you replay a guy sliding an inch off as he reaches second base on a stolen base. And his body is off the base for a split second as he's hovering over it. But the tag was on. It's not in the spirit of the rule. That's not what baseball is about. But yet you replay it and say, well, no, he was off the base for a split second and he was tagged. He's out. That's ridiculous. And then it goes from that to now this, where you have, okay, well, now we have challenges. And then now the challenges that's supposed to solve the ball strike issue, even though that's not going to be 100% either, that's supposed to solve the issue. Now we have an issue with the challenges. Oh, no, it was too late, or I didn't see it. Like when will it end? Replay for the replay. And then there's got to be replay on, well, how many times can you replay? Well, I'm sorry, it's not reviewable. Just get rid of all this stuff. It's unbelievable. It's never going to be the perfect game that you think it's going to be. Ever. I don't care how much replay you bring in, how many challenges you have, it's never going to be perfect. Well, it's not reviewable. Well, why not? Are we trying to get it right? Either have everything reviewable so we get it all right, or nothing. No in between. Well, sorry, that's not reviewable. But you screwed it up and it could cost us. Whatever it may be. It's not just the challenge thing. You saw that, right, Badabooms, with the challenge with Dominguez last night?
That was egregious, and it's like the second or third time that's happened this year. I know it happened with Jazz earlier in the year. And there's a rule against the disengagement where they get mad at you and you'll get a pitch clock violation if you fully disengage. So what are you supposed to do in that spot? Like,
I don't even know.
Ridiculous.
Well, what does that mean, disengage? Like what, stop looking at the pitcher?
No, it's like when you fully leave the box.
I mean, it's ridiculous, bro.
It makes absolutely no sense. And then you got to like make eye contact with the ump. What are you going to sweet talk them and tell them you're going to take them out to dinner later? Like,
okay, but think about this. The whole point, I remember yelling about this many years ago, like part-time on the radio, overnight, whatever it may be, with Galarraga's. You remember Galarraga's perfect? Okay.
Of course. It should be reversed. To this day, it should be reversed.
Okay, right. But at the time, I remember saying, I still don't want replay. It was a bad mistake, a horrible mistake. Galarraga's become more famous for that because if he just threw a regular no-hitter or a perfect game, whatever it was, like he would have been one of
many. It was a PG.
Okay, right. So he would have been one of... Now, for him, personally, you like to have that perfect game, but we all know what would have happened, and now that moment will live on in baseball history forever. Jim Joyce, Galarraga, whatever.
Infamy.
Okay, yeah, whatever. But you get the point. It's a memorable moment. If there were replay there, it still wouldn't have been the same moment that it should have been naturally. And it just would have been an awkward situation. Now, you're right. Like, the call would have been gotten right. Okay, whatever. I mean, then you could go back and reverse the Wfan no-hitter as well, right? Then the call would have been gotten right. Like, for every one that would have been in favor of the player, there would have been some that maybe would have been against the player. Like, it's even, Steven. It all evens out throughout the course of the history of the sport. My point is that the human element is a part of the game. You're never going to have it perfected. And no pun intended with the perfect game there, but once you go to the replay, now it's like, okay, everything's going to be reviewed. But yet it's still not. There are still going to be instances where it's not. So you open up that can of worms to, okay, now things are going to be reviewed. Calls at first base are going to be reviewed. And then now with the challenge is like, okay, so we get to a point where how many more challenges are there going to be? Then should it be reviewable that a guy taps his head when you didn't see it? Technically, it should. If you're going to review the play at first, why not replay then everything? Why are certain things up for debate and certain things aren't? Like that shit, and it's not just baseball, it's everything else. That's not right. Are we trying to get everything right? If that's the goal, then more things should be reviewable. Or are we just trying to appease certain things? Like what's the point? Same thing in basketball. Like, how can you have a certain amount of challenges? You either have challenges or you don't. You can't just say, well, they only have 2 challenges for the game and then that's it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Are we trying to get it right or not? Either everything should be reviewable, and I'm on the other side, or nothing should be reviewable. And just let the human element play its course outside of, like, maybe an egregious quick thing. Like, a home run should be a home run. But it used to never be this way. Like, you hit a ball over the fence, it would go over the fence. You knew it was a home run. Now it's, it hit off the cement, it hit off a fan, it hit off a rail, did it hit the line? Like, it's ridiculous the way that they build these ballparks. Anyway, it just drives me nuts that the more replay you put in all sports, still the more issues you have. it creates new problems. They're different, but it's still a problem.
You know what the NFL has really done a great job of capturing is that expedited replay they do now. Why not have somebody else in the booth whose job is just to watch for those errors, just to watch for those mistakes, so that they already have the answer right on hand and they're already on the phone with you.
You're saying like in that spot somebody could just buzz down and be like, "No, bro, he tapped his head."
Yes, that should be the case for all sports. And like American sports have been behind in that for a long time. I know cricket and soccer have always been good at like, and tennis too. That's another thing where they're always on top of it and they have somebody who's like the protection for
right, but I
the
guess
protection, if you will.
In tennis, I don't know all the rules with tennis, but it feels like it's easier to manage when you have, two players and one ball, and that like it's pretty simple, right? It's the lines are. I don't know. I'm just trying to simplify with baseball or football. There's a million different things that can happen,
and they've got it with football. Like they're working in a way where that expedited replay is going to be so much more smooth.
Yeah, but still, pass interference is not reviewable.
That's a whole different story for a whole different time.
But it's a huge thing in the sport. So like, what's the point? I guess my point is, what's the point of having all this replay? And by the way, why aren't you hopping in the screen when you're talking today?
I mean, I don't know if you want me in there or not.
Yeah, well, when you talk, I told you this. How many times I gotta? Oh, we'll get to that in a little bit. How many times I gotta tell you this? When you're talking, come on camera. It's a YouTube show. Okay.
It's also a Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere you can get your podcast show.
Yes, I understand that. But when we're on YouTube, I want you to be seen, not just heard. Okay, get back out. Now, my point was, come on. Okay, when you're talking and it's relevant, then you can pop in. My point was that it's still not getting done right. The whole point of all this replay and expanding the replay and the challenge systems, all this was to get the calls right. Well, if you can't review pass interference, that's a huge part of these games that has still been getting wrong. Or certain late hits or whatever it may be. Like, think about how many games in the NFL we still bitch and complain about the officiating. Well, why is that when we have a great replay system? Because it's never going to be perfect. Same thing with baseball. And I think it's even worse with baseball. Football you could live with for whatever reason. Football just always plays well to replay. It's always been that way. And the challenge system, okay, fine. Baseball doesn't work like that. The fact that you could still have Boone getting pissed off, rightfully so, and Dominguez, rightfully so, getting upset because he went to challenge. What if that was a bigger pitch? It wasn't a huge deal in the game, so we're not making a big fuss about it. But what if that could be a case? What if that happened? Oh, no, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Oh, it's not reviewable, not challengeable. You just screwed up. And it does happen with other plays. Same thing. Oh, it's not reviewable. How has that happened? It happened with the Mets for a few games. And not that I care because it wouldn't matter what the results of the season. But still, it's like, how is that? It's bull crap. Are we getting it right or not? Why do these rule makers, you know what I think happens? I think rule makers aren't really fans of the game. Because if you had just simple fans of the game, like you or me, if you had fans of the game making these rules, I'd be like, no, that's no good. Like you want it to get right, you got to fix that. You can't have a situation where that play that just potentially cost them a game can't be overturned or reviewed. Anyway, we've wasted too much time on this, but you get the point. It's annoying.
There is one last thing I do have to say about this, and you didn't touch on it. Maybe you want to be the bigger guy here. A lot of these things are still human element because there's a whole other aspect involved. You know what I'm saying? The whole other, what they're in bed with and the gamble.
The gambling?
Yeah, like don't you think that they're always going to have that there? So if necessary, I know it's taboo. Bring. Vegas is making a call. Like, how are they going to do that if it's all replay? That's why they leave these pockets of no replay, especially with the player props.
You're saying for the fix?
Well, I mean, kind of, yeah.
Come on, I'm not going to be that conspiracy theory. I think in the NBA.
Well, we said that in basketball. We were talking about that with Wemby the whole time.
Yeah, well, I mean, the NBA is a different story. It has been proven that there have been players on the take. There have been officials on the take. Like that's been a fact.
So if it's in the NBA, why isn't it in all the other sports?
Yeah, I don't think that has to do with why Dominguez couldn't challenge.
I mean, the biggest gambling scam in the history of sports happened in Major League Baseball with the White Sox.
The Black Sox.
Were they the Black Sox at the time?
Yeah.
Shoeless Joe.
Come on, brother.
Well, you get my point there. You know what I'm saying?
You ask him about CM Punk. He knows every match that the guy's ever had. You ask him about the Black
Come on,
Sox
I know
family,
it's
Shoeless
Shoeless Joe.
Sox.
Are you kidding me? You act like I don't know ball. You would have known Norm Van Brocklin.
Soto. You know what's crazy to me? That Soto is such a lightning rod. it's wild to me that I have to explain my love for him. Like, really? Me, somebody who criticizes everybody, has to explain why I love Soto. And it's like, oh no, you love him more than you love it. There's a reason why I love Juan Soto. You saw it, if you're a Met fan, you saw it last night. And the reason why I say if you're a Met fan is because he's been doing that since 2019 with the Nationals in the postseason, which is when I fell in love with him. A young beast against the biggest and the baddest, the best of the best, through that entire postseason run, leading them to a World Series win. Then he did it again with the Yankees. And finally last night, Juan Soto came through with one of those vintage clutch, I call them Piazza-like moments. But this is what he's done his whole career. The idea that he had to prove himself. Oh, Sal, are you worried about Soto in the clutch? No, I'm not. There's a difference between not having many clutch moments in a year and a half and not being clutch. Juan Soto doesn't have to prove that he's clutch to anybody. He's already done it multiple times over. Like many times over. On the grandest stages the sport has to offer. He's done it. And then last night, now it's not clutch being that the game didn't really matter, but against a premier closer in the league, on the road in Atlanta, a place that the Mets just don't win there for going back for 30 years. Against their closer, Braves are a significantly better team, down runs in the ninth, down to your final out, and then hitting a monstrous 3-run home. And you just knew. I was explaining to my wife as we went back and rewatched it because we were juggling with the Yankees a little bit, then went to U.S. soccer for a little bit, and then went to the Soto at bat. And I was rewatching it and went back and was showing her, like, you know, when Soto's doing the shuffle and the head nod, I was like, oh, woo, he's got him. She's like, what does that mean? I go, no, it means that he knows this pitcher is effed. He's going to do damage. And then boom. Oh, that was sweet. Now, the only problem I have is that, like, I could get excited about it, and it was a big moment, and it's great to see, and maybe it shuts up the morons with the Juan Soto stuff. Okay, yeah. You're being a Met fan and critiquing Juan Soto is freaking comical. That's the guy you're going to choose to rip? For whatever reasons you want to pick. That's the guy? That beast? That champion? He's better than anything you've ever seen in a Mets uniform. Outside of Tom Seaver, the statue himself, there's never been a better player in the history of the franchise than one Juan Soto. And yet people are going to critique him. Like, you got to be kidding me. You've never seen anything better. The last outfielder to start an All-Star game for the Mets was Beltran in 2007. And you're critiquing this guy? Come on. You kidding me? And I love Piazza. He's not Soto. He's not Soto.
Stop it. Stop it.
And the other thing is that the Yankee fan tries to make it like they don't miss Soto. They don't want Soto. Because they're so hurt because they know how great he is. See, it's twofold. Met fans don't know or really appreciate how great Soto is. Yankee fans are fully aware and appreciate how great Soto is, and that's why they're so hurt that he left. And it's why I love him. The only shame of it is that he's not going to get these opportunities in the postseason for 2 straight years. Now, you could blame him for coming here. You could blame the Mets for not putting a team around him. Whatever it is, but it's criminal. He should be in the postseason. He is just a different level beast. And I'm not saying this because he hit 1 3-run homer against Iglesias that helped win them a ball game against the Braves. It was a fun moment. Anytime you do it in that ballpark or in that moment, it's fun. But in reality, that means nothing to me. I've seen him do it in the World Series. I've seen him do it in the postseason in New York with the Yankees. Those are moments that he just hasn't had enough of with the Mets. This year has been a different story for him. Look at all the metrics. Look at all the numbers. The guy, all he does is produce. He's producing at an extremely high level. Consistency as well. And nothing phases him. Nothing. We talk about Cam Schlittler being that alpha male. Oh. Pales in comparison to one Juan Soto. It's not a knock on Cam. It's just the reality. Shohei. Judge. They don't have that extra. I'm not saying that Soto's a better ball player than those guys all around. Like, obviously, we know Aaron Judge is the best they've ever seen, defensively and just the 70 home runs, whatever it may be. But Soto's got a ring. Soto's done it throughout the course of a postseason. Just a different level mindset and beast. And that's why I loved him. I loved him before he ever put on a Met uniform, before he ever put on a Yankee uniform. And I'll continue to love him because of moments like that. That's something that I've been chasing as a fan ever since Piazza. And there just hasn't been enough from that from the Mets. Now, what's your issue? You have an issue?
You can't say that Soto's a better Met than Piazza. Stop.
He is.
Stop. That's ridiculous.
He's the No, I didn't say he was a better Met than Piazza. I said he is the greatest Mets position player of all time. Period. End of story.
It's been 2 years, brother. You're saying he's better than Straw?
I'm saying there's two different arguments here. You could say, like, well, David Wright's the greatest Met position player because of all the numbers, all the longevity, the success they had. You could say that Strawberry is the most talented Met that you've seen, and then he won a World Series, whatever. You could put Beltran in that category. You could
put Daniel Murphy over him. What are you talking about?
Yeah. As far as being a Met or more accomplished as a Met, that's different than being as talented. Nobody that has ever worn a Met uniform as a position outside of Tom Seaver, the statue himself, nobody is as good a player as Juan Soto. Period. End of story.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. You want to put it that way? Yeah, but how many MVPs does he have with the Mets yet?
Nobody has an MVP with the Mets. Period. Nobody's won an MVP with the Mets. And guess who's going to be the first to do it? Soto. If not for the cheap Ohtani that they get the MVP every year because he pitched a few innings. Whoa, he can pitch. He can pitch a little bit too. Oh, great. If not for that, even if he doesn't pitch, he's a DH, and it's still like, whoa, but he can pitch a little bit. Lindor should have had the first MVP, as a matter of fact, and beat Ohtani out. But anyway.
The Mets wouldn't hurt from Soto pitching a few innings, not going to lie. Yeah. It could help.
Maybe. I'm going to give this away today, by the way. What do you think of that?
Nice little bucket.
Reversible bucket hat.
Can it be game used? Can you toss it on there?
No, I don't.
Cover up that absolute shiner.
If they want to, I have my own. I was wearing that in the.
Look at that thing. It looks like it was waxed.
This is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, not the hat. I was talking about your bald head.
All right, get out.
I still can't believe what you just said. The greatest Met of all time position player?
He is. You come on.
It's nothing but empty stats so far.
Yeah, okay. Says the Yankee fan.
I thought you were going to expose me for what I said about Soto yesterday.
What did you say? I forgot.
Good.
No. What'd you say?
No. You don't get the...
I do remember. God. I do remember what you said.
Oh God.
You told me you cried like a baby.
No, I didn't say that.
No, you said you cried when Soto left. When you found out that he left, you said you cried. That's what you told me.
It was a single tear. It was like a Disney Channel tear. It was. I knew he was gone though. It was the most obvious moment in New York sports history. Of course, he was leaving.
Did you cry?
A single tear.
Did you cry more when Soto left, or did you cry more when CM Punk won the championship last night?
This is our belt now, sucker. This is our belt now.
I got to be honest with you. I felt like I struck gold with you. Like we just happened to connect, and I was like, you know what, I made a good choice. And then he sends me the video last night of him freaking out when CM Punk won the championship, and I'm thinking, I don't know about this guy.
Look in my eyes. What do you see? Come on, you know the words.
Did you
cry? The cult of personality.
Well, somebody had to beat Sami Zayn. I mean, Sami Zayn being a champion is comical to me.
It wasn't tears. It wasn't tears. But
you might as well put the strap on Michael Cole. Sami Zayn. I mean, come on.
I mean, he's a great worker, Sami Zayn. He's put his time in. He deserves it.
So you did cry?
No tears for this one. Pure elation, though. Can you imagine the same year that Jalen Brunson was the Finals MVP?
You can't compare the two. Okay, let me get back to Soto here.
Hold on, let me not drop this belt. The thing's expensive.
Soto, the real champ. Ah, man. Even seeing it got me annoyed.
Sheet.
Like I was saying before, with the Yankees, it was so much fun to sit down and lock into a baseball game and know that the game mattered. And that's what happened with the Yankee game. You could just feel it. It felt different. Like, okay, here we go. The broadcast energy was good. The energy, I mean, it's Rays, so it's not like the energy in the ballpark is great, but Cam on the mound, you could just feel how big of a game it was, and I love that. And then you flip on the Mets, and it's like, doesn't matter if they win or lose. Even in Atlanta, and I'm sitting there watching and just thinking, man, I miss having... We didn't have it at all this year with the Mets. There have been a handful of games, that actually felt like they've mattered. A handful. The season was taken from us. And then even last night with the great moment from Soto, it's like, okay, great, like big deal. It's the moment itself was cool for Soto. I was happy for him and good to see him come through in that spot and shut Met fans up who were saying he's not clutch, like give me a break, and just stick it to the Braves. But the reality is, there's like, it's about who they're selling. Which brings us to Peralta. Okay, I still think they'll get something back for Peralta, but he's going to be on the move. What a horrible year he's had. Which then brings us to Luke Weaver, who has been terrific and dominant. Hey, do you have you want to pull up those numbers on Mason Miller and Luke Weaver again there, Badabooms?
Yes, I will. I will gladly. You got to give me a second.
What was it you were getting on me, and some people, was it in the chat or whatever, were getting on me or something like that about Weaver and
Luke Miller, I believe, exactly.
Yeah,
sorry.
Guy hasn't a lot of run in 2 months, but yet you're mocking me for saying that Luke he's been as good as any reliever in the game, period. And then a part of me is torn. Like, do I want? I said this on SNY that I'm not trading him because I want to win next year. But okay, the value is never going to be higher for Luke Weaver than it is right now. I think the Mets should be in a spot where they should be looking to trade, even at this year's deadline, with the mindset of next year. Not, and I know, and some of the stuff can be kind of intertwined, where you can trade certain guys and bring in prospects, high-end talent, but not necessarily because you think those prospects are going to turn into something, but because you now bring in that talent that you can use to go get you a piece that could be major league ready next year. And that is what I want from the Mets. And if that means trading Francisco Alvarez, see ya. If that means trading Luke Weaver or even Clay Holmes, see ya. I would trade Clay Holmes and then just sign him back. That's what I would do if I'm the Mets. You got to play Powerball here. I mean, you can't be messing around. They've got to do whatever they can to make sure their team is ready, stocked, and loaded next year. Trades or whatever. And it can't even just be as simple as, because I know a lot of people say this, and I'm going to say this knowing that people will not comprehend this the right way or misconstrue this or whatever, and I don't care because I'm just going to say it. If there were a trade that presented itself that would include A.J. Ewing or Carson Benj, it should be considered. And it can't just be, oh, no, they're untouchable. No, they're as close to untouchable as you could get. But let's just say the Cubs were tired of Pete Crow Armstrong for whatever reason. And they're like, you know what? We'll trade Pete Crow Armstrong. We need Benj and A.J. Ewing. You're telling me you wouldn't do that? If the Cubs tomorrow said, so don't tell me he's untouchable, because if the Cubs tomorrow said, we'll trade Pete Crow Armstrong for Benj and Ewing. Now, some of you may say no, but that's a pretty appealing offer. It's not going to happen. I'm just saying that I personally would not say anybody outside of Soto is untouchable. Maybe McLean would be the only other thing because there's no way you'd ever get back. For Ewing or Benj, you can get back better big league ready players. It's just a matter of who or how much they would cost, whatever. Again, it's not likely, but let's not make it like those guys are superstars. They have the potential to be very good. They're not superstars. Pete Crow Armstrong is a superstar. There are other superstars out there that might be available. With McLean, the most valuable thing in the entire sport is young, controllable starting pitching with high-end potential and ability. And that's what Noel McLean is. So that's why I would put Soto in his own category and then Noel McLean in another category right below him. And then the other guys, yeah, you're most likely not going to trade them because there's not going to be any better options. But I think everything should be on the board for the Mets, and with a specific eye on how are we going to get big league ready, legit, consistent, proven commodities on our roster next year. That's what it's about, whether it's starting pitchers or whether it is position players. And obviously you would look primarily in the infield because you would think that the outfield would be locked up with Soto, Ewing, and Benj. And hopefully those two guys continue to grow and perform well, and you could feel comfortable going into the year next year. But outside of that, like Bichette, of course, you should be looking to move him. I would be looking to move Lindor. Simeon hurt, you're not going to move him. But yeah, Vientos, Beatty, you're not going to get anything for those guys, but move on from them. Anything else should be up for grabs. And
you sure you want these stats?
Yeah, well, in the last, not the full, what do you have here? I want the last 2 months.
I got this.
What is this?
This is overall.
Yeah, no, not overall. It's been the last 2 months. And overall, by the way,
you want a cherry pick?
No. I want the last 2 months. That's what we're talking about. Luke Weaver hasn't allowed a run. How's Mason Miller been the last 2 months?
I mean, he's best closer in baseball, undeniable.
How's he? Okay, give me his game log the last 2 months. How many runs he allowed?
I mean, he had one bad start there in Chicago. Chicago's a tough place to play.
One bad what?
Or one bad outing in Chicago there. Chicago.
Luke, dude, here's the bottom line. I don't care what stat you come up with. You can't be better than Luke Weaver's been over the last 2 months. He hasn't allowed a run, literally, until last night with that fake runner at second base. Now, would I want to have Mason Miller over Luke Weaver on my team? Yeah, of course. But I'm just saying right now, and I'm trying to talk up the trade value.
Oh, my bad.
Did you watch any of the USA game last night?
Yeah, it got depressing. I had it on side by side of the Yankees, and I'm like,
they stink.
Yeah, that was
Are you into soccer at all or no? I mean, I feel like
I mean, not really. Like my grandfather from Italy is like diehard Juventus. Actually, like this is not meant to be a sob story. I just think this is great. Like I wish I could be like him when I go older. He's had multiple brain tumors and like he doesn't remember anybody's name, doesn't remember where he comes from, doesn't remember his own name, but he can tell you every single player on the Juventus soccer team. So I just think that's the peak fandom for me. So for Italy, I'll root, but like USA doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah. I can't. I was trying to get into it. I can't. If US would have played well in that game, by the time I really get into it, I got into it at the end of the first half and then the second half because I was watching mostly the Yankees. And they were sloppy, not playing any defense, out of it. Then they had that goalie screw up that play horribly, which ruined the game. And then like 3-1 soccer game, it's over. The energy wasn't very good. I don't know. If they won that game and then the excitement started to build, maybe I would have gotten a little more into it. I just don't care enough. Like, okay, USA's out. Now what? Like, had the Knicks been out, we would have been devastated. When the Mets are out or the Yankees are out, we're devastated. Football team, same thing. Like USA soccer, all right, see you in 4 years. But soccer's getting better. Okay, all right, great. Well, let's see it. Right now, is it the Norwegian team that's taking over?
Yeah, Norwegian, yeah, France. They're like, there's players
Messi,
that I know.
Yeah, Messi, you want to watch?
Uncle Messi. Sorry,
I don't know
do that.
It's
like when he's going to score, that's what the announcer's like. Uncle Messi.
All right, couple more things that I wanted to get to here because we didn't talk about this yesterday. The LeBron James, Rich Paul whiteboard. It was interesting. Now, there's been a list of teams that LeBron is likely to go to. The Cavs, and by the way, the Cavs extended Donovan Mitchell. So I don't know what that means for the cap situation. Did you see that, Badabooms, with Shams reporting that?
I did. Last time I gave news like that, though, you told me, and I quote, "Who cares? It's not New York sports."
Well,
so I didn't say anything.
Well, the only reason why I'm curious is what does that? If you could look this up real quick while I'm talking here, what does that mean for LeBron's potential to go there?
How does this affect LeBron's legacy? Is what you're asking me?
No, not his legacy. How does it affect LeBron potentially salary cap wise going to Cleveland? I know Cleveland was one of the teams on top of his list. The Sixers there as well. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because it will impact the Knicks, where LeBron was on LeBron's whiteboard. It had the Knicks on there, and then Rich Paul is talking about like if the Knicks didn't win the championship this year, there would be no decision. LeBron be going to the Knicks. By the way, now that I think about it, today might be. Is it the anniversary of LeBron's decision? The only reason why I even remember that is July 5th, 2010 was my first day at SNY, which is hard to believe. It's 16 years or whatever. And then like 2 or 3 days after my first day, that same week, was the LeBron decision. So it's either the 7th.
July 8th, 2010.
There you go. So tomorrow. So July 8th, 2010 was the decision. And we're approaching another decision from LeBron. And his agent said there would be no decision. He'd be going to the Knicks if they didn't win the championship. And then said, well, Brunson would need to make the call to LeBron. Get out of here. You think our champion, a New York sports god, is going to call LeBron James and be like, yeah, it's cool to come here after what they built over the last several years? Now, you coward, now you want to come to New York? And it's so easy to sit there and say, well, yeah, had they not won, we would have gone to the Knicks. And yeah, okay, you have multiple opportunities to come to New York. Now you're talking about how you want to come to the Knicks, tough guy? Oh, yeah, we would have gone if they didn't win the championship and try to bring them over the top. And now it's, well, Jalen Brunson's got to call him because he wants a piece. See, it's funny how now everybody from the outside sees it. Now they can see it. It's tangible because it happened. When we were trying to tell them all before, whether it was KD, Kyrie, LeBron, whoever, we're trying to tell them before, if you win here, you will become a sports god. There's nothing better than doing it in New York, the Mecca, the Garden, all of it. And they didn't want to hear it. They couldn't see the light. They couldn't see the vision. Jalen could. Maybe it was because his father was a 90s Knick, because he grew up around the team. He understood it. He knew the challenge. He knew the reward. He took it head on. And then he delivered. This is his team, his town, and his time. Not LeBron or anybody else coming in trying to screw that up. This is the year that we celebrate the Knicks as champions. Not watch LeBron James as a Knick. Now that they can all see it because Jalen Brunson did it, now they want a taste. Oh man, that must have been a great, what's that like? 3 million people or so show up at the parade. Knick fans taking over the road arenas, whether it's Philly, whether it's Cleveland, whether it's San Antonio. Man, winning a chip in New York. These guys are everywhere. They're rock stars. And now you can see it because they, led by Jalen, made it happen. Now, of course, you want to, oh yeah, we come to New York. We just need a call from Jalen. Get lost, bro. The problem is, wherever he goes, Philly, Cleveland, it does make them better and a more legitimate threat to the Knicks and East. Now, I still love it, and I would love nothing more than to have the Knicks up like they are, can't be higher up than they are, and to beat LeBron, even if it is an older LeBron James. Still, LeBron to the Sixers. Ooh, Sixers are going to be the threat. They might even, in fact, be the favorites in the Eastern Conference next year. Jaylen Brown and LeBron and Embiid and Maxey and Edgecombe. Ooh. I look forward to that. Or LeBron returning home, and I think the best thing would be for him to go back home to Cleveland. I like that idea. Him finishing there and then trying to get that team over the hump. And how about that for a rematch? Knicks and Cavs again in the postseason. I'd love to beat them. But it's just easy and funny now to hear guys like KD, sour grapes, knowing that this could have been him. This could have been Kevin Durant's story. He could have chosen to come to the Knicks, and he could have been the guy to deliver the championship like Jalen did. He chose not to. He didn't want the smoke. He was scared. And look what he got. And look at his legacy. Jalen Brunson is a king, is a sports god. KD will always be looked at as a hanger-on. As great as he is. Took the easy way out. LeBron, one of the all-time greats, no doubt. And winning that championship in Cleveland, all-time great feat, no doubt. But he also could have been the one to do it in New York. And it's just different here. And now they see it. And I guarantee you that those guys are all envious of Jalen. And they should be. He had the balls to take on the challenge. And then the balls to deliver. So get lost, LeBron. Yes.
Does it not bring you some joy that LeBron has, like, where has it all brought you, LeBron? Crawling back to us. Like, he's begging us now for his final ring. He's knocking on the door. He is Rich Paul going on Max Kellerman's show that, come beg us, come beg us. No. You're begging us, bro.
Imagine, Jalen would have to call. Like, I get what Rich Paul's saying, and that's exactly why I don't want you. Said that before he even knew that. No way do I want him coming here now and messing this thing. It's not his team. It's Jalen's team. You had your chance. Both you guys, Rich Paul, LeBron, you had your chance. You didn't want it. You didn't want it. Now it's easy to come here and be a part of the championship culture that Jalen Brunson built. Jalen came here, remember. Now it was still being built. Julius Randle was the first one to really take it with Tibbs, but still in the process of being built, it was nowhere near a championship culture. Jalen took it on. He will reap the benefits of this, not anybody else. Not KD or LeBron. Get lost.
Didn't acknowledge the point there, but it's all right.
No, what do you mean? I did. Ow, I just poked myself.
We were begging him. Now he's begging us.
No. I never begged him. I never wanted him. So I don't want to be part of that.
You never begged LeBron.
Never, ever.
Not in
and this
2010.
This is why.
Not in
ever.
2010.
Never.
Go
back and check the record books, brother. I didn't want him. As a matter of fact, I said at the time, now it sounds foolish, and believe me, had he come here, I would have loved him, and I'm sure I would, especially if he delivered a championship. At the time, I said I want to build a team that beats him. I didn't like his mentality. A guy like that leaving and thinking about going to form whatever he was going to. I didn't want LeBron. I wanted to form a team that was going to beat LeBron. That's just how I was at the time.
I wonder what his relationship with Mike Brown is right now.
Bro.
Just saying. Still friends? Still talk?
I've been listening to I got to finish it today, the Roommates podcast with Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson. I listened to the Leon Rose one. It was okay. Leon, not great, but it was some good insight. Mike Brown was on with them in the last episode, and I'm in the middle of listening to that, and it is actually funny. Also, while we have your attention, two things. Let's do this giveaway because we're going to say goodbye. Surfside bucket hat giveaway, reversible bucket hat giveaway. And you got to get the addresses so I can start mailing some of this stuff out. I already mailed one thing. We need 2 more addresses for the previous winners. I'll do the bucket hat and glasses. And then what was the other thing? Oh, yeah, I got to dress up like a clown. The clown costume came. I will pay my debts and pay my respect to Mike Brown, who delivered the crown. And I am, in fact, the clown, so we'll do the clown show coming up. We'll do that next week. But I have the clown suit, so I'll do just a normal show dressed up as a clown. I have a bunch of stuff here.
Chat, you know the rules sent to the giveaway. W's in the chat. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll have Nightbot running at 10 a.m.
All right, the bucket and the hat. We'll do the the bucket hat and the super light glasses. We'll give that away before we say goodbye here. The only other thing that I wanted to get to, and you mentioned this yesterday.
Spam W's in the chat to enter, by the way. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Actually, 2 things. Look, I'm not happy to lose Mitch. I love Mitchell Robinson. It was the right time for me. We've gone over this before. I saw what Mitch wrote, the note about how he busted his hand. To me, that still shows instability and immaturity and not something that I would be investing in long term. Great player. I hope he stays healthy both physically and mentally. I think it was time for the Knicks to move on, and I couldn't love any more the replacement with Andre Drummond. I just think it's a good fit. He's going to rebound. That's exactly what they need. He could be a little bit better of a scorer, certainly not a liability than Mitchell Robinson was. So, again, we'll miss Mitch, but if you're going to replace Mitchell Robinson, Andre Drummond is a nice option to replace him. And then the last thing, you brought this up yesterday, off the air, we didn't get into it, was Yuri Perez. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about before. Yuri Perez of the Marlins had a perfect game through 7 innings, and he threw 92 pitches, and they took him out of the game. Now, I don't care about the Marlins, but I do care about the sport. And we're in a spot, whereas baseball purists, lovers of the game, it is bad news for the game when you have a perfect game. That's history. That is special. You have that being taken away because the guy's at 92 pitches. And even worse, like if I'm that pitcher, I'm telling get out of here. You're not taking my. I'll give this up. I'll walk somebody or I'll give up a hit before I'm taking. I don't care. My arm is falling off. I want to be in the history books. I want to throw a perfect game. Any pitcher that's ever taken a mound from Little League on would have the dream of throwing a perfect game at any level, let alone the big leagues. And you have an opportunity to do that and you're going to get taken out before you get knocked out? No way. It's a knock on the players for not having that competitiveness. It's a knock on the organizations for not building guys up to the point where they can't throw more than 100 pitches or finish the job. And it is a knock on the coaches, the managers, the data analytics, all that stuff for not having a better sense and feel for the game. Like, it's many facets to why we're at where we're at, but it is a bad, bad thing for the sport where you have the excitement of a perfect game ruined. And this is not the first time it's happened. It happened with Paul Skeens after 6 innings, whatever it may be. Not the first time it happened. But it's just, to me, a bad look for the sport when you have they just don't care about the perfect game anymore. Okay, no hitters, perfect game, they just don't matter. Something that we used to love so much. All right, are you ready to give away?
Yes. By the way, 24 in history.
Yeah, think about that in the history of the game.
And think about all the money that Yuri Perez now loses out on just that alone. All the signings,
the marketing.
and stuff,
yeah, you're right.
all that stuff.
But,
Absolutely.
but dude,
robbed
how
him.
about just from a competitive nature? Like, wouldn't you want to try to finish that and compete? That I
It's
don't get-
embarrassing. I said McCullough should be banned from the sport after that.
But it's not. It's not McCullough. It's the whole. I know what you're saying. It's the whole thing.
The thought process of the game now is absolutely depleted. All right, ready? Let's get this thing going here.
Mm-hmm.
Nightbot's gonna announce the winner. He's working tonight, Nightbot. After I hit him with the belt a few times.
I don't know what that means.
At Ray's Train. Congratulations. Please hit me up at the Badabooms.
Okay, and
At
that's
Ray's
for
Train.
that is for the bucket hat and the glasses, super light glasses, Surfside bucket hat. You got to if you haven't you got to try super light. You should know already by now about Surfside. That's delicious. But if you haven't tried super light, you got to check it out. Both Surfside and super light, delicious. Trust me on that. And I know what's going to happen. You're going to taste it and be like, "Damn, he was right. He was right about that. This is delicious." All right, so can you get me the addresses, please? Because we owe. I have to send 3 things out. I want to make one trip to the post office, and then we got more stuff coming. I'll have more bucket hats to give away. We got some more of the reverse bucket hats. And I got the Surfside hoodie. We'll give that away at some point. We don't have. I was thinking about giving this away because I don't know what I love it. It's a sick figure, but we don't have any Philly fans in here, right?
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, you're a Falcons fan, so you never know.
All right, that does it for us. We'll be back again tomorrow, same place. We're going to try to go at 9 a.m. every morning. I know we don't have a consistent time yet. There's a reason for that. Hopefully, we could have some stuff that we announce in a few.
Wait, I'm going to
weeks.
jump over you again just to say it's the Race Train because we
go
got to
ahead.
get this stuff down.
Go ahead.
Race Train, I'm going to jump in. Race Train, DM me on Instagram or X, Twitter, whatever it's called, at the Badabooms, at the Real Badabooms. I'm going to take all your information now. We're going to get that sent over to you.
Okay. Where was I? You jumped over me. Oh, yeah. We're going to try to go at 9 a.m. every morning. Stay tuned for giveaways and stuff like that. We're going to be doing some special content. We got the vlog. Still, Badabooms working on that from Game 5 of our trip to San Antonio. Clown Show coming up next week. Going to do stuff involving the Yankees and maybe Yankee game. Met stuff will be the Met game Wednesday night. So still a lot going on here that we have stuff planned. And the Champagne Watch. We'll explain what that is coming up at a later date. Anyway, we're going to start trying to go consistently at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. Outside of the rare times we'll go on after a game or a big game, something like that at night. All right, that does it for us. Soto. You could say goodbye now.